Once, in a beautiful faraway land that was somehow not so very far, a land where every stone was a teacher and every breeze a language, where every lake was a mirror and every tree was a ladder to the stars. Into this far and lovely land there fell a truth. It streaked down from the stars, trailing a tail as long as the sky. But as it fell, it broke.
One of the pieces blazed off through the night sky. The other fell to earth in the beautiful land. In the morning, Crow had found the fallen piece. It seemed to be a sort of stone, shiny and pleasing to the eye. He picked it up. "This is a lovely truth," said Crow. "I will keep it." And he carried it away. But after he had held it for a while and examined it closely, Crow said, "This truth does not feel quite right. A part of it is missing. I will look for the whole one." He flew off and dropped the piece to the ground.
Other creatures who like shiny things soon noticed the truth as well. Fox, Coyote, Raccoon. Each one picked it up and carried it for a while. They too found that it had rough edges and was difficult to carry. And its sparkle soon lost its appeal. "We do not need this broken truth," they said. "We can find a whole one."
Butterfly and Bear soon noticed the broken truth, drawn in by its sweetness, but each found that it left a bitter taste after all. There is something missing in this truth, they thought, and they left it alone. After a while, none of the animals even seemed to notice the broken truth anymore. It lay on the ground, forgotten.
Then a human being found it. He was walking slowly, listening to breezes, gazing at beauties above, below, and all around him. When he found the broken truth, there was writing on it. The writing said, "You are loved."
The man held it carefully, thinking it was the loveliest thing he had ever seen. He tucked the broken truth into a safe place and kept it. Sometimes he would take it out and admire it, and the truth sparkled just for him, and whispered its message to him, alone. And the man thought he had never felt so proud and so happy.
The man took the wonderful truth to his people, those who lived with him, who spoke as he spoke, dressed as he dressed, and whose faces looked like his. And together, they cherished their newfound truth and believed in it. They hugged it to themselves while it became their most important possession. But after a while, the man and his people did not hear the language of the breezes and stones. They did not see the mirrored beauty of the lakes or the ladders to the stars, but only saw their sparkling truth. And for them, it was enough. And they called it the truth.
The truth made the people feel good and proud and strong. But soon, the people started to feel fear and even anger towards those who were not like themselves and did not share their truth. And the other beings and other people of the lovely land seemed less and less important, and the language of the breezes was hardly ever heard anymore.
Time passed, and other people said, "We must have this great truth for ourselves, for with it comes happiness and power." Many battles were fought, and the broken truth was won and lost, over and over again. But such was its power and beauty that no one ever doubted it, and when they were without it, they felt a great emptiness where their truth had been. The stones and trees suffered. The breezes and waters suffered. The animals and the earth. And most of all, the people suffered.
Finally, the animals went to Old Turtle, ancient and as wise as the mountains and seas themselves. Crow and Fox went, Coyote went, Raccoon, Butterfly, Bear, many others all went to see Old Turtle. "This truth people fight over," they said. "We have heard it ourselves. It is broken and does not work. Please tell the people."
"I'm sorry, but the people will not listen. They're not yet ready."
And the suffering continued.
Until one day, a little girl came to find Old Turtle. She had traveled very far, had crossed the mountains of imagining and the river of wondering why, and she had found her way through the forest of finding out. And when she had grown tired, she had ridden on the backs of animals or the wings of birds, and they had helped her find her way. Finally, they reached the great hill in the very center of the world. When she got there, she felt as if she'd never felt so much beauty in one area. Until she saw Old Turtle. She could not speak. She simply looked at him with eyes full of wonder.
"Why have you come so far to find me, little one?"
I wanted to ask a question.
Where I live, the earth is sore and the people are suffering. Battles are fought over and over again. The people say it has always been this way and it will never change. Can it change, Old Turtle? Can we make it change?
The world you describe is not the world that has always been, little one.
Then Old Turtle told of how the people had found the broken truth and the suffering it has caused.
It's because it is so close to a great whole truth that it has such beauty and the people love it so. It's the missing portion of the broken truth that the people need if the world is to be made whole again.
Where is the missing piece? Can we put the broken truth back together again?
First, my child, remember that there are truths all around us. They twinkle in the night sky. They bloom upon the earth. They fall upon us every day, silent as the snow and gentle as the rain. The people, clutching their one truth, forget that it is a part of all the small and lovely truths of life. They no longer hear these truths, no longer see them. But perhaps, little one, you can.
I'll try.
And she thought once more of her long journey. She looked upon all the beauty that had surrounded her, from the far hills to the flowers beneath her feet. She saw the movement of clouds and the soaring of birds, and the dancing of light upon the green and living earth. And gradually, a feeling came over her, as though the worlds were made of truths, as if the world had been made just for her, and she had been made for it. She looked once again at Old Turtle, her eyes more filled with wonder than before. Old Turtle spoke again.
Remember this also, little one. The broken truth, and life itself, can be mended only when one person meets another. Someone with a different pace, from a different place, or with different ways. Only then will the people know that every being, every person is important, that the world was made for each of us.
For a long time then, the two friends were quiet, high on their hill in the very center of the world. And in her heart, the little girl thought she could see other people in other beautiful lands, people with their own ways, their own truths, people different from her own, but still, somehow, the people. Finally, the little girl asked one more question.
Old Turtle, how will the people learn these things?
By seeking out those small and simple truths all around them, by listening to the language of breezes, by learning lessons from stones and animals and trees and stars, even turtles and little girls. Now, it is time for you to go and return to your people and tell them what you have seen and heard, and help them mend their broken truth. Take this with you. I've saved it for a very long time for someone just like you.
The little girl looked at what the Old Turtle had given her. It was a sort of stone, a mysterious, beautiful stone. It was lovely to touch and made her feel good to hold it. She squeezed it tightly and tucked it away for her journey.
Thank you, Old Turtle.
And then she started home.
Once more she traveled through the forest of finding out, crossed the river of wondering why, and the mountains of imagining. Crow led the way, and again, when the little girl grew tired, all her animal friends helped. She sometimes touched the stone Old Turtle had given her to renew her strength, and it took a long time, yet almost no time at all, and she was home. But it had been a very long journey, and those who take great journeys of the heart are changed.
The people did not recognize her, and when she spoke, they did not understand. She told them of her journey, but the people could not follow her words. She spoke of a world made of small and gentle truths, of all the people being one people, but the people could not understand. She explained about the broken truth and the need to make it whole, but the people did not believe in her and could not understand.
Finally, Crow, seeing all that had happened, flew to the place high above the village where the great truth was kept, in a place where all could see it. He cawed and cawed in his loudest voice, and suddenly the little girl knew what to do. She climbed to the high place herself. She took Old Turtle's stone from her pocket and, carefully, added the missing piece to the old broken one.
The fit was perfect. The people looked and looked and looked. Some frowned, some smiled, Some even laughed and some cried, and they all began to understand.
Time passed upon the beautiful land. Trees climbed like ladders to the stars, and water shone like mirrors. A breeze stirred, and the people heard its music. Tiny truths fell by day and night, gentle as the rain and snow, and people saw them and kept them in their hearts. And slowly, as the people met others different from themselves, they began to see themselves.